You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Here is a sneak peek at the new head-to-head TV show I'm doing with Jesse Ventura.
Energy dependency is always a big thing. Look at wars. How do they fight wars? One of the major things they do is cut off the energy in whatever form it is to the particular country you're going to war with. We did it with the Japanese in World War II. We embargoed, they couldn't get any oil. We would have been even more successful against the Germans in World War II, except the Germans had already figured out how to create synthetic oil. And by the way, in the German synthetic oil, there was no fossil fuel used. So I question whether oil is actually a fossil fuel. I don't believe that it is. I think that's made up in which to get people to believe so that they can control the pricing then, that there's only a finite amount of it. The Keystone Pipeline isn't pushing us towards energy independence at all. All it is doing is going to make huge money for the oil companies as they export that oil out of the United States. The simple way to look at it, if Keystone was going to provide oil for us, they'd be loading it into trucks. But what are they doing? Keystone is going down to the Gulf of Mexico, and it is being loaded onto tanker ships. So unless them ships are heading to L.A. or San Francisco, say goodbye to all that oil from Keystone. It's heading to China. There's your key to it right there. If it was coming to us, it would be loaded onto trucks, and you wouldn't have to build a pipeline all the way to the Gulf. But because they need to load it onto ships, the pipeline goes to the Gulf to put it on ships so the oil companies can make big money over in China. We use so much oil, the United States of America, there is no way that we can provide it for ourselves without seeking it in other countries and other places throughout the world. Okay? And that's the way I see it.
What is energy dependence? Well, it's basically slavery. We are slaves to oxygen. We have to have it. Plants are slaves to carbon dioxide. If you go back to the most ancient form of warfare, practiced for more than 6,000 years, it's siege. Shut off a city's water, shut off their food. So through oil dependence in the last 100+ years, Standard Oil and the Saudi Arabians today, we are slaves to OPEC and the cartels that control oil. And so they've done everything they can to block the development of independent, renewable new forms of energy like solar, wind. The problem is the very same system has allowed the few innovations that have been made to be corrupted, and wind power farms and solar systems that have been built by government have just turned into inefficient boondoggles for the establishment so that they can basically make the new clean energy systems fail to discredit it. We're seeing right now Saudi Arabia and others try to bankrupt Russia and independent U.S. oil producers by driving down prices. So there's also a lot of manipulation within the oil market itself. But when you begin to research artificial energy dependence, you're really hitting at the heart of how the globalists control our planet today. And that's why I encourage people to develop their own solar systems at their home that's off the grid. Government encourages certain solar systems or wind systems that are hooked directly into the grid and the system and are highly regulated. What we need is truly independent off-the-grid systems like Jesse Ventura has set up in Baja, Mexico. I'm Alex Jones, head-to-head with Jesse Ventura. And this is an idea that Jesse's folks had, and I like it. Once a week, he'll tape 2 minutes, and I'll tape 2 minutes, and we won't look at each other's video. And then we just sandwich them together to see if we agree or disagree. And then when he comes back on the radio show, we can debate things we disagree about or flesh out things we agree about. And it's surprising how much we did agree on and the angles we went with. Because I did not look at it. He did not look at my video. They sent it to us. We sandwiched it together. And there you go. Jesse Ventura is joining us. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
You can now listen to The Alex Jones Show live on the free TuneIn Radio app, featuring over 100,000 real radio stations, over 4 million podcasts streaming live from every continent, offering unprecedented access to listen to anything, anywhere. TuneIn lets you listen to over 100,000 real radio stations and more than 4 million podcasts from every continent, 200,000 mobile downloads per day. Available on iPhone, iPad, Android tablets, Windows 8, BlackBerry, Amazon Kindle. Available in over 200 branded products with millions of devices sold worldwide, including Samsung Smart TV, Roku, Sonos, Sony PlayStation, Amazon Echo, Panasonic Viera TV, Logitech Squeezebox. TuneIn brings streaming radio to cars, including GM, Ford, BMW, Tesla, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, Nissan, Fiat, and more.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live, broadcasting worldwide. I am your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here, Lord willing, for the next 3 hours. There is so much to get into today. It really is over the top how fast the globalists are moving on every single front. From internet to Obama-net. The Wall Street Journal. Here are the type of headlines that are out today. Future of the entire internet at stake. FCC chief presses to release new web rules. The regs will, quote, make the net as slow as in Europe. Isn't that just special? Meanwhile, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, has come out and testified before Congress this morning, saying that she does not want the Fed audited and they continue to plan to have zero interest rates for the establishment, not for the general public, into the foreseeable future. So free money for the elite and the insiders, but basically nobody else. There's the CNBC headline if you're a TV viewer. I strongly oppose audit, the Fed, Yellen says. And that ties into this article that's up on Infowars.com. 14 signs that most Americans are flat broke and totally unprepared for the coming economic crisis. And you can have arguments about whether it's a year away or 5 years away. It's already here when 4 out of 10 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And if they have one unforeseen emergency bill, they're bankrupted. We are net debtors now in this country. And only the establishment is standing to gain from all of this. That's coming up. We've got some good news. Montana House Judiciary Committee pushes back against Agenda 21. We're going to be breaking that down. We've got some other positive news. Record U.S. farmers switching. A record number of U.S. farmers are switching to non-GMO crops in 2015. Continue to vote with your dollar. An Infowars.com story with the Department of Agriculture's own numbers. But here's the bad news. 75% of air and rain samples contain Monsanto's Roundup. Biotech isn't just tainting the food supply. We're going to break that down. Secret TSA program quizzes travelers returning to the U.S., but illegal aliens are let in with no quiz and no ID. Federal agency interviews Americans abroad before allowing them to fly home. It's all about letting the slaves know that they better give up all their liberties and learn to behave like prisoners. Scare tactics or possible threat. Last time Homeland Security was threatened with budget cuts, America suffered a terror attack. That, of course, was the Boston bombing. Threat advisories have been circulated about a possible terror attack on the Mall of America in Minnesota, as you know, since the weekend, right as their budget's up. And Jay Johnson came out, of course, a few days ago and said, hey, if you don't want the mall to get hit, you need to go ahead and up our funding. While they leave the borders wide open, I mean, terrorists could randomly attack a restaurant, randomly attack a train station, randomly attack anything, a PTA meeting. The idea that we need Homeland Security everywhere to protect every, quote, soft target inside the country when the borders are wide open, except for citizens. Citizens dutifully have their laptops downloaded, their cell phones downloaded, or asked all these questions, harassed, your bags are dug through. But, oh, you're coming in out of Mexico and you walk over and say, I have no ID, they just wave you right through. And I witnessed this 5-6 years ago in Texas and in California at airports, flying around internally in the U.S. And then last year, it came out in mainstream news that indeed there's memos and TSA is told, let them fly without IDs. I mean, this is a joke. It has nothing to do with stopping terrorism. It's all about dominating and controlling the American people. We're going to get into that report as well. James O'Keefe, of course, came out yesterday and said he was afraid for his life out of scores of huge reports and stories that he has broken. Well, now he's released the report, and it's on drudgereport.com, out of the New York Post and other publications. It's Garner, the man who was choked to death by police in New York, daughter on Sharpton, says he's all about the money. And it's basically a collection of videos exposing the people of New York don't like Sharpton. Some people would say, you went up against Obama, you brought down Acorn, you've been arrested, you've done all these big stories. Why would you be scared, O'Keefe, of Sharpton? Well, you don't live in New York like O'Keefe does. People that have gone up against Sharpton end up getting burned alive, end up getting stabbed. I mean, he is a gangster and an FBI informant and a coke dealer. So he's kind of the king of Harlem. And that's why whenever we had Pastor Manning on a month or so ago with his initiative to get Sharpton fired off MSNBC for all of his activities, that I said, boy, that takes a lot of cojones because Sharpton's a very dangerous individual. Some people kind of shrugged their shoulders and said, you know, what's the big deal, O'Keefe? Well, O'Keefe's never put out tweets before saying, I fear for my life on this. Believe me, I'd fear for my life bringing down Acorn. He's been arrested. He's been thrown in jail. He's been accused of wiretapping in Louisiana.